Good day everyone, welcome to this video and welcome to this episode. Well, today's episode is not an ordinary video because this is now an unscripted video and I will just talk about live about all the new stuff which is present in this little project, and I hope you will like it, and I hope you like how this world now looks. Let's move a little bit more far. So I have dozens of trucks, I have all the factories connected, all the post offices connected, I have some buses, even a tram, and this is a nice little living world. And yes, as you see here, I have a tram traveling around this little city, which is a new tram. This is the Ladybug, which is a small, I think only 12 people fit that tram. And this is what I usually done in the original TT game. Also, I sometimes made railway around a city and I just made some local transportation. So I really like it. It's something like in real world, where you have a tram traveling around the city and delivering people local transportation and something like that. So I hope you like it. So I have a bunch of new stuff and started some new series as well. If you didn't see a coding series, maybe it's worth to check out. In the first episode I showed you the exact code what I used to create a truck with a trailer, which is also present in this game, in this project. I will show you that as well. And I also made a fun little video as a review series, but I would like to create more coding series, review series and more OpenVMS related stuff on the channel next year. But I want to come with some videos this year as well. But as I told you, today's video is just a live showcase about what the new stuff is. And this is the first time I use now a different recording device instead of Microsoft's own video recorder built in with Windows 10. And I hope the quality is now a little bit better, because as I saw the videos on YouTube, my own videos, it turns out that of course the game quality, the graphics quality is much nicer in reality than as it appears on YouTube. But I hope now the quality is a little bit nicer. So I don't really know where to start. Maybe let's start at factories, because as you see we have a couple of new factories, and actually we have 4 new of these. So in total now we have 14 different factories in the flow chart. But I think that from now on I will call factories industries, because maybe that fits better, because as you know, this was the first one which created the forest which produces wood, and of course this is not a factory. I don't really know if it's an industry, but maybe I will call this now an industry. And there is a bunch of new stuff about industries which is new, multiple things. But first let's see these new industries. We have a field over here which produces raw grain, which you can see in that bluish container as well, but it's still wet as in real life, so we have to deliver that to the drying plant. And here we have these nice horse trucks. These are called the horse, and we deliver those to this drying plant, which is a building which was modeled after a real-life example near my hometown. And yes, as you see, those trucks travel around nicely, and they deliver this grain to this dry station, and after it's dried they deliver that somewhere else. And where they deliver it, let's see, over here to this corner, to the flour mill. Of course the flour mill isn't always here, because when we start a new game, a random map is generated. How it's done and how the cities are generated I showed you in previous videos, so feel free to check them out as well. Maybe this is the 31st video I think I made. So after from dry grain, as it becomes flour, it's the flour is transported over here to the bakery, which is this, and the bakery creates baked goods, which are then delivered to the mall. So we have 4 industries in a chain, 4 new industries, all related to the previous one. But let's see some interesting stuff here, because maybe if you saw that one of those grain trucks arrived but did not unload its values. Why is that? So far only those industries had a maximum capacity, which were starting industries in a chain, like the forest, which has a maximum production of 400 elements. Now each and every industry has its limit, so even this one, the grain drying plant, has a maximum of 430, maybe not elements, maybe tons, or I don't really know what to call these numbers. And it was full, so when a truck arrives it was not able to unload because the station was full. That means that I did not really handle this industry well. And let's see an example here, for example at the sawmill and with this little forest, because this is not the only thing which is new. So now we have here 380 elements. Sorry, the maximum is 380. All products is 47. Now you see that the truck arrived with some new wood, and now we have 87 wood blocks. So of course if we reach the maximum, the newly arriving wood is we wouldn't be able to unload that. And also, as you see now, that little wood block over here disappeared. So this is a new thing, that at each and every industry we see how much loaded each and every industry is at 8 different levels, 8 different stages. Now we see one blue wood block over there, because one element we always see, even if we have one element here, so that it's not completely empty, but we see this in 8 different stages. Well, this industry is very well handled, so it's not full, but let's see this one. Well, this is almost full, and we see that bluish container is almost full, and well, it's not a bug that this truck did not upload anything, because it goes to its regular inspection. But now it will upload some of those, and as you see this live, you see these changes live at each and every factory. Here also those 4 crates at the flour mill are the same, or these little hills and little bumps at the coal station as well. So at each and every industry you see this, and I think it's great, because this way you don't have to invoke that info panel, which is by the way just one click. I press F1 and we see this info here, but without that you can also do that. By the way, I have the plan to create these panels like this window, so that you can fit these at the right side of the screen, just above that in a row or column, I don't know how to call that. So at the right side of the screen, just above where you see how much profit you have, you will be able to attach different panels like this, like the info panel, and wherever you go this panel will be always there visible, maybe in the top right corner, so you can have this always on the screen. So this is something which which I work on currently, or which I will do. One more interesting thing, or one more add-on to this, that as these industries have this level of loadings, or these visible loading stages, these are not 100% in sync with the amount of elements you see at the back of the trucks. Why? Because this industry, the maximum is 400, so that means at 8 different stages it's 50 elements for each new object which you will see here. But one truck can deliver, I think, 80 elements. This bigger one can deliver 80 elements. So, and the loading level is also visible at trucks, but at 4 different stages. So if we want to do this completely in sync, then one element at the back of a truck means 20 elements, so we would need 20 different stages at the industry to make this 100% in sync. And that was not the goal, because I just wanted the players to be able to see how loaded each industry is. And there are only a few industries and trucks which deliver goods and products the way that it's visible at the back of the trucks. It's only wood blocks, furniture and the coal. All other elements are carried in a closed truck. So of course you don't see how much letter there is or how many packages there are at this or in this mail car over here, which is the green one, which delivers to this post office, which is also a real-life example from my hometown. This has 210 mailbags over here, now 0 because that truck picked up all of them. So this is a well-handled post office. And by the way, I like to call my industries with a little special or little funny name. So this is the coal station, or this is the furniture A, or this is the sawmill, which is misspelled, of course, in purpose. This is the dry station. This is the milk station. This is the slaughter house, which also has these green, yellow and red barrels, which you saw that disappeared because the polar bear, the refrigerator truck, picked them up and delivers them to the mall. The bakery is the bakery. We have the cow farm, where we see, which is a special one because it produces different elements or different products as well. It produces meat and also milk. And as you see, milk is pretty much full, because though we have a bunch of that gray barrels, and you see 4 cows We have the Pig's Dig, which is I think also a funny name, which only produces meat, and we see these livestock trucks which deliver these to the slaughterhouse. So I like to use these little funny names, and I think they are great. There are some in chain, as I told you, and some of them produce multiple products. Some of them accept multiple products, like the thermal power plant, which accepts wood but also coal from the coal station. So I think it's relatively well written. I already showed you a flowchart diagram, but of course now this is a little bit further more enhanced, and yes, and I also have some packet points over here, which I also showed you that we can do now. So we can't just so the post office is not the only thing which delivers packages. We also have these packet points which we can create, which is over here. This red one is the packet point, and this little white car which takes this right corner now, that's one of those packet delivering cars, and the other one is the guinea pig which arrives here, that orange one. They are similar yet different. So, and let's see this truck if it can unload all its goods. Yes, and as you saw, there is now some more dry grain at the station. These objects here appeared. So at some stations you see these hills, for example in that building, and this is similar to that what you see at this coal station as well, those hills and those little bumps as well. So I think it's nice, and and by the way, something new also to industries which I wanted to show you is that, as you see, you can change between seasons in the game options. So now I play in early morning spring, but we can also play, of course, in summer or winter or anything else. Summer, midday, spring midday, fall midday, winter midday, but and we will see how time goes on. And now is the 25th of August, so we will change to autumn in a couple of seconds or in a minute, which has an effect on the industries as well, because I wanted this to have some effect on the industries. And for example, the field which we see just in the screen at the right side only produces when it's not winter. So if it's winter, then the daily production will be 0. And okay, good question now, if you have this question, whether we have to call our trucks each and every time home when the season is over. And interesting thing is, of course, not. If we jump to a depot and we see our trucks here, we can see the transport, and now it turned autumn, so we can see the transportation document here, of course, and we see where our truck goes and what it does. This was created way before, over a month or almost half a year ago, And of course we see that let's see this truck, this one is that, and from the home depot it goes to the fields, then to the grain drying plant, and then back to the fields, of course. And now it heads to the fields. This one is here, which is coming to this depot, and it will upload, and we will see 100 grain. Yes, because there was enough grain over there. It made a huge income. New price was 1,800. Worth is much more than 1,800, which I don't know why, because as far as I know, I thought that I coded that it should be worth less over time. So maybe I have to recheck that code for that. And of course, the speed of the cars, of the trucks, depends on how much loaded they are. So as you see, the maximum speed is 46 kilometers in an hour, but this one only drives now 38 because it's very much full. So we will see this on the way back, and let's stay at this vehicle for now, and we will see that when it's empty it will drive much faster. But the reason we are here is whether we have to call the truck home after it's when it's winter, and no, we don't have to. Not because they can drive, they could drive empty, but it's a problem if they drive empty, because driver salary and fuel consumption is also coded in this game. As you see, income and profit change daily as it drives, because this is there is a daily driver salary, and there is also a fuel consumption. So everything is well coded here. And now you see it drives faster. It was almost 45. Why it's not driving 46 is not a bug, because the road surface is uneven, and that also makes it drive a little bit slower. So, but enough talk about this nonsense. So if it's winter, what can we do? Well, you see these little icons here at the bottom of this transport documentation. Of course you can't clear the route now because it drives, and you simply just uncheck, for example, January, February and December, and that's all. And that means that whenever the season is over for this truck, then this truck will come automatically to the depots, and it will wait until its working schedule comes, and then it will drive on its own. And it's so simple. And every time you buy a new truck, this schedule is fully selected. So this is when you buy a truck, set up a route, which I've done a lot of examples about. Maybe you can see this the most accurate in the 1 hour gameplay I made half a year ago. So when you set this up at these grain delivering trucks, you simply have to click 1, 2 and 3, and that's all. And it's so simply. And maybe one interesting trick, maybe I would leave December on. Why? Because if the field finishes the production in November, maybe we will need December to empty out the storages. And maybe for trucks delivering from the dry station to the flour mill, maybe we will also need January to empty out the storages. So we will create a push in this, so to push these months further and further. I did not even test this yet really in live gaming, but it's an interesting and maybe a little bit I don't really know what's the right word. So it's challenging, I would say. It could be challenging. And as you see, we see some little water waves also here, which I created, which is pretty easy. It's just a plain object and the sinus function. Of course, I could make each individual corner coming up and down in a different direction, but at a very huge map, it would really slow that down. By the way, now I have a frame limiter at 60 frames per second, but as you see in the top left corner, but maybe you don't see it right because it's written in white, and the very nice sky is also white, and I just simply love this sky cube which I created. I think it's really great. I made a video about that, how I created it in Blender. So, but back to these frame limits. Now it's a lot of times you see 30, 40, 50 frames per second. This is only because I record the screen with a different device. I use now OBS Studio, and that makes it slow. I have to record the entire screen because for some reason if I choose to record the game, it did not work. I'm still new to OBS Studio, so maybe I will figure out that later. But just to get back to the speed of the game and graphics and tools I use, maybe let's say that many of you already know that this was coded entirely in DarkBasic Professional, and each and every line was coded in that, and I don't really use any add-ons or anything, just Blender and DarkBasic Professional, and because really that's what I like to code. And it's funny when I see people saying that, oh, I coded this and I coded that and I coded a game like this, I coded a race game like this, and I see on YouTube that what they do is they click two buttons and they load a physics engine to the game, and they say that they are coding. Well, for me that's not coding, or maybe a different era of coding. But I simply just love to code everything, because that way I know how the game works and what the game does. And that's one way that we can make sure that this code runs fast. And if I don't record the screen, and if I don't have the frame limiter on, then this game runs between 500 to 1000 frames per second on this average machine, which is I think it's a 4-core AMD Ryzen 3 maybe, and I have 8 GB of RAM and some kind of GeForce video card. I had a GT 1030, but it was broken, so one of my friends gave me some kind of GTX, which is not new. I think maybe it's 8 or 10 years old, but as you know, DarkBasic Professional is well, I think almost 25 years old, and of course it can't really use all the advantages and capabilities of these new video cards. And as I see it, most of the times it relies on CPU, but we have a lot of CPU power. So back in the day when DarkBasic and DarkBasic Professional came out, well, I remember I first coded on DarkBasic on a 1-core AMD Neuron with 950 MHz, and funny fact is that you could actually run this game on a single core Intel Celeron TPU machine with Windows XP with 512 megabytes of RAM as well. You could do that, and it would, well, I don't say that it would run in 16 frames per second, but it would run great. So that was the reason. So sometimes I see very simple games, but you need almost, I would say, a power plant to run the game. But I always say why, because you see 1500 polygons on the screen, but you need 10 gigabytes of RAM to run it, just because they use some kind of that kind of engine. So I think that this engine is pretty much ideal to do this job. And of course, sometimes we had a lot of pain in the ass because about how just DarkBasic handles stuff, but this is not DarkBasic's fault. This is the lack of knowledge what I have. And as I saw, most of the people who coded in DarkBasic wanted to achieve huge projects, but they failed. Why is that? I will talk about in another episode, not today's episode. And but I think it's for me it's the ideal tool, and I use only Blender and DarkBasic Professional, and I create all my objects in Blender, and I'm just a newbie in Blender. I just started out, but I try to create all my objects, so all the industries and all the vehicles in the same quality, I would say. So if you see, well, and of course the Pixdig and the Co-Farm are almost the same. So if you see these industries, if you see the polygon counts, they are all almost the same for each and every industry. So I try to make these well, the same quality, and I try to make the textures look the same quality, so you don't see that the terrain is much more in detail than, for example, a building or a car. I don't say that I 100% nailed this, but I think I'm close to that. You don't see that this bridge is 2000 polygons, but the building is only 12. So I think it starts to look great, I think, with all these colors. And I use relatively small textures, so I think that this texture for one single tile at this field, at this grass, and at this road is 128 times 128 pixels, which is enough because it's very small on the screen. And I think that I use for the trucks maybe 256 times 256, and maybe for industries 512 by 512. So I use relatively small textures. I save them in PNGs because as far as I saw, it looks a little bit nicer in the game if I save that instead of JPEGs. And of course, in PNG is compressed, but it's lossless, so it's great. And it's just a couple of megabytes, so all the objects and all the textures are just a couple of megabytes. And funny thing is that I use Blender 2.79, which still can export objects through 3ds format, but I don't load the 3ds format into DarkBasic Professional because now it's winter. So I don't load this to DarkBasic Professional because I convert them to .x format, which is I think some kind of the DirectX format, and I have this converter from a original DarkBasic disk, from a original DarkBasic CD-ROM, and this converter was also written in DarkBasic. And the fact is that in .x format the file is in size larger, but it's much faster for the engine to handle. And of course we have dozens of memory, so maybe you needed 128 or 256 megabytes of memory to run DarkBasic, and now I have 8 gigabytes, which is, a lot of people say that it's well, it's a starting out, or maybe it's the minimum which people usually use today. By the way, of course, I know what I'm talking about because I am a computer science engineer with system engineering specialization, and I'm specialized in OpenVMS. So, of course, I know how much 8 gigabytes of RAM is, but I also know that for some games it's not enough, but I also know what you can achieve with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And oh, by the way, let's jump to this industry over here. As you see, it's winter and all productive 366, and now it does not produce, as I told you. So it's not producing anything, but of course, as you see, we still need December to empty out the storages, just like I told you. But let's jump to this depot, and yes, in January and in February this one will come home. So we will jump back to this depot in January, which is in 15 days, and we will see just how it comes home. Of course, I could make a winter texture for the trees as well, which maybe I will do, but now I just liked it how much how green they are, and they bring some color to this world. But of course I will make some textures for them, or maybe remove the green top for some of the trees. Well, for these what kind of tree is this? Fir, and this is a Scots pine, and this is a Betula pendula, whatever that is, I don't really know. Scots pine. So maybe I will do something about that, but I just love that this way as well. And well, I just moved now nicely around and show you this little winter scene. And I think it's great if we watch this from a distance. Of course, as you see, sometimes we have this flickering error with the shadows, which I almost already fixed. I work on the FX file to fix that, and I almost did that. And as you know, let's jump to the game options menu, because we have a bunch of new stuff. You see that these two objects take only effect when I hit OK, and all the other effects options take effect when I live. But let's see this in isometric projection, which we also can do, and I made a video about this, that this is a fake isometric. This is still 3D, but it is isometric, and now you see that, wait a minute, this is a very small map, and for a couple of seconds ago it appeared to be very large. Why is that? And I see this a lot of times, that people create an image from this view from, for example, GTA 3 or GTA Vice City, and they say that, oh, GTA Vice City was actually a very small map. It just appears to be small. And why is that? Because now we are very far from the ground and from all objects, but the field of view is very small, and that makes this effect that this looks like small. It's actually not small. But you can play this game and this viewport also anytime, so anything, if you want to build roads you can do that, and you can plant trees, so you can do anything at this viewport also. And as I told you, I showed this in a video how I've done that. But let's switch back to 3 dimension, and now you see this looks much larger. And yes, I wanted to go back to this depot and to see this horse. This is it. So it's finished its route, and then it will come to the depot, as it says Vihi to depot. So it will come now to the depot because it's January, and in January it can't drive. Now it comes to the depot, and we see this W icon, which means that he's only waiting to go. And we can't say go drive because it's already driving in the arrays, but it's waiting for the ideal month to come. So just to show you that this works, I will switch now January on, and hopefully it will drive. Yes, it goes on its route, so it's so easy. So it doesn't matter now if it drives or not, because this is just a demo map for now, which I think it took me 1.5 years in the game, which is about 1.5 hours in real life to get to this point. But I would like to switch now back to spring morning, because that's what I love to play in. So it took me about that time to build this entire industry, maybe, just for now. But I use, of course, all the shortcut keys and everything I do fast, because, well, maybe I coded this project and I know every single little bit from that. But I did set up the game so that when 1 year passes in the game, that's about 1 hour in real life. And I would like to make this game so that you will need 30 hours gaming to reach, of course, the year 2000, because you start in 1970. And maybe I would like to put so many different things, and of course you can play this on larger maps. Now this is a maybe 64 x 64, and of course you can play it in smaller and larger maps as well. Of course this affects these options affect the newly created map if you start a new map from the main menu. So I would like to make it possible that you can play 30 hours until you finish the game. And what's the goal of the game? For some games like this is to make much more profit. But I made a video about these achievements, and as you see we have an achievement system, and now I'm a rookie. I became a rookie because I cleared out in each these 5 achievement groups. I cleared out all the rookie sections. So if I would buy a teddy truck and would deliver with a teddy truck, I could become an amateur. Of course we have the charts, which at some places had some bugs because we were in minus and in money, and I will make another episode maybe about that, that you can go to minus, because that means that you own the bank. But this is also funny how many passengers we delivered. As you see, I started to deliver passengers in the first year, August, and well, sometimes I have more, but almost the same amount of passengers I deliver. Vehicles, well, this wasn't coded well, because as you see, at some month I did not save the amount of vehicles we have. It's not a problem, I already fixed that. How many stations I have. I saw a glitch over here for a second, but I don't know what happened. I don't really know. So how many factories we connected? As you see, it took me 1 year to connect all the factories. How many trees I planted? So we have a nice system for that as well. I think is great. And I have 3 buses, 28 trucks and 1 tram. We have a bank balance, startup fund, vehicles worth 38,000, and so we have a much larger total. So we have a nice system for that as well. So I don't really know what the real challenge of this game could be or will be, and I don't even know if this game could be available for anyone to play in the future, because as you know, this is pretty much inspired by Transport Tycoon, and I know that there are a lot of games which are exact copies of the game Transport Tycoon. Maybe OpenTTD is, well, it started as an exact copy and it's out. I know it's a free game, but maybe Chris Sawyer approved that, and I don't know what Chris Sawyer would think about this project if he would see this. I couldn't get in touch with him yet, so if you know Chris Sawyer, give him a link and maybe tell him about this project. I hope he would like it. Oh, but back to the game options, because there are some new things which I wanted to show you. So far we had only the 90s quality and the high quality, but I made this funny little thing C64, which means Commodore 64, and I wanted to have some kind of very oldish style for this game, and I think it's pretty funny. The fact is that I made all the textures, and as you see at the bridge texture I made something wrong, so I will have to remake or re-render the texture for the bridges in C64. So as I told you that, so I did not tell you, but all the individual textures are converted to 16 colors. So in total, of course, you see much more colors, because each individual texture is rendered in 16 colors. But I think it's funny how the top of this depot has that reddish thing on that, maybe rust. But if we go to game options and we set a high quality, we don't really see that. So it's funny like that. And of course it's completely a different vibe if you play this in minimal textures, where you don't see those grass things and something like that. It looks completely different, I think, even on smooth textures which does not have these lines, but I like to play it in classic. And of course we can set the time, so morning, midday and night, and maybe winter night is the one which I like, which which tries to represent some kind of bluish moonlight shadow, as you would like to see the moon over there, but you can't see, because you can't see that much high. And of course maybe I will do something with these smokes and with this smoke effects, because they are now too white, and for some reason the top of some of the trucks is also too white. So these are actually some glitches in Dark Basic Professional, but not really in Dark Basic Professional, maybe how I created the objects. And yes, there is still something to work on, but well, it's not impossible to fix these little glitches, but I like it this way also. But so you can play this at any night. So this is a summer night, or a fall morning, or spring morning, which I really love, as I told you. And oh, and we have a new stuff, retaining walls. So maybe let's build some funny thing here, a wall like this, and of course we could even out the surface like this. So now I even out this surface, so everything which you see on white will move to the level of that yellow lines, like that. And I showed this in, I think, almost the first episode. But of course we can build bridges, and let's see this one. But of course we can't build a bridge here, because it's not ideal to build a bridge, the area, because as you see with those red dots, some of those places are higher than the bridge, and the bridge is a bridge if it's well, if it's over a ground surface. But with the retaining wall, which is now listed at the in the menus in the bridges area, you can do this. As you see, you can do this because the workers, the imaginary workers, will move that ground level down. So like that, and now we have a nice retaining wall over here. So this is something new, which could look nice if you would like to build it, for example, here. Of course, now I just show you with this tool, but of course you can't build it here because we have a tree over here which we would need to cut or replant or something like that. But of course we can replant a tree, so you don't actually have to cut trees if they are in the way. So, but well, this is also something new, and I wanted to show you all the vehicles now, because we have a couple of vehicles, and now these vehicles are stored in groups because there are way too many vehicles. And of course we have the buses, tapir, dromedar, and I renamed camelus to camel. We have the delivery cars, the mouse and the guinea pig. The mouse is fast with a high consumption, and the guinea pig is slow with a low consumption. We have the mare cars, bug and big bug. We had some goods trucks, the rabbit and the coyote, which are open carrying trucks. We have the cow trucks, Teddy, the bear and the grizzly. We have milk trucks, the calf and the cow. We have the refrigerator trucks, or maybe just one, the polar bear. Maybe I will make a small one, but I don't know how a polar bear is called when it's small. But let me know in the comments. So we have a weasel and a hyena for livestock or livestock trucks. We have the grain trucks, the pony and the horse, which is the, as you know, the truck with the trailer, as I showed you in the coding episode. And we have the dry goods products car, the baby bison BB, which I think looks lovely, and the buffalo. So we have 20 some cars in total, and I think they look nice. And in the screen I don't even have all the trucks, so I don't have Teddy, I don't have the bear, I only have maybe just Dromedar, and I don't use now all the trucks in this little preview model yet. So, as I told you, I hopefully would like to come with new videos, which I'm sure I will. Maybe not this year, because the year is almost over, but well, in 2026 I'm sure I will come with some new videos, and I hope you like it. Feel free to share this with your friends, and if you have any questions, you know what you can do. Write a comment and I try to answer each and every question if you have. And well, I hope you like this. So maybe I could put some nice little time-lapse video maybe here, and to have a look what happens. So thank you very much, bye bye.